It's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.
Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeahthedees, where I'm going through our Round 5 AFLW win against Carlton at Icon Park last Friday night. A rainy affair, sloppy conditions, but the D's got the job done by 42 points. Pretty impressive display for most of the game, generally with how they battled against the conditions and put in a four-quarter effort, which was fantastic. On top of that, we saw a lot of structure that we didn't see the previous week against Brisbane. It was quite evident that they'd done a lot of training on structure and moving together as a unit throughout the week, and that was on display in this game against Carlton, who are having a interesting season so far. The two games before this one, they had 2 draws in a row, which is very, very super rare. And the game before that, they won by a point. So they're battling against teams at the moment and, pretty much breaking even or drawing with them. And then, coming against a more mature outfit like the D girls, they got put to the sword a little bit, and a 42-point win was probably kind in the end with the amount of opportunities that the girls had. 2 goals kicked in the first quarter, 3 in the second, and then 1 in the following quarters as the ground was quite wet after that. Taylor Harris, most impressive with the 3 goals. She was definitely best on ground, an imposing force around the field as she played. Karen Paxman, former Fremantle player Sabrina Duffy got on the board as well once she got on the ground. She has a bit of presence about her, and could be a bit of a wild card moving forward in that forward line. I think she's going to be quite handy. Kate Hoare and Lauren Pearce also getting on the board as well. Loz with the last goal of the game. Spent a lot of time out of the ruck, which was interesting. So Taylor Harris was up the ground a bit more. So I'm not sure if she got a bit of a knock or an injury or something, but I did notice that she did spend quite a bit of the game off. So the teams for this game, Taylor Harris came back in after her suspension. Sabrina Duffy made her club debut, and Sinead Goldrick came back. And Georgia Campbell and Maeve Chaplin all popped out. If you look at the squad, it's really solid. We've got players that a lot of them are getting towards 50 games because they've been in the system for that long, and that's a huge advantage at this stage in season 7 of AFLW to have a bit more of a collective core to build upon. So we're in a really great situation here. Stats wise, we absolutely dominated in disposal, mainly with the handball game. We had a lot more handballs with them. They were kicking it as much as they could whenever they got it, just trying to gain some territory. It was a little bit lopsided in free kicks. Generally, a lot of the ones that I saw that went towards Carlton were there. We were a bit sloppy, especially in our forward line, giving away a lot of high contact free kicks and just a bit sloppy and ill-disciplined there. 46 inside 50s we had to 13, and a lot of those 21 free kicks, at least 10 of them happened as soon as we got an inside 50 and the ball came straight back out. We had 5 inside 50 marks to 0, 1 in contested possession, and they were chasing us, tackling us all day, so they were a little bit higher there, and 1 the hit-outs just. But we were just in control the whole game. It was very, very hard for Carlton to even get an inside 50, let alone get on the board, which would have been very deflating for them. Olivia Purcell, the highest disposal getter with 30 on the day, followed by Eliza West with 20, and Madison Gay and Sarah Lampard with 18 each. They all played pretty well. Kate kicked 1 goal, 3 again, so her inaccuracy is hurting us again. She's been consistently missing a little bit, which is unfortunate, but she is getting her hands on it and getting plenty of opportunity, which is a good thing because it means that she's putting herself in the right spot. We have Fremantle coming up this week over in Perth, so that should be an interesting game. Last time we played them, they were hit very, very hard by COVID, and we became the first team to score 100 points in the AFLW. So I don't think this game will be as easy as that one. Fremantle generally have been fairly competitive. Currently sitting 4th on the ladder here at the moment with a percentage of 160.8. There's 5 teams now that have only lost 1 game for the season. Brisbane, Adelaide, Collingwood, Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs. And then, there's a few of the newer teams that are definitely going to struggle a lot against the more established sides. Freo aren't having the best year at the moment. Came off a draw before their win last week. So we will sure see. But, before the season 6 game, they match up quite well against us. So, that's pretty much it for the ladder. We've got a few more games to go before finals. But, Melbourne will definitely feature. I think Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, all very strong sides at the moment, leading towards the final series. Grand final week was this week, and Geelong are the premiers now. Unfortunately, we are no longer the reigning premiers, but that was going to happen when we were going to play absolute rubbish like we did in those first 2 weeks of the finals. Sydney, they just didn't turn up. I just don't know whether it was the nerves got to the inexperienced lineup or what really happened there, but there was just absolutely no chance from very early on in that first quarter. You could tell 15, 20 minutes in that the Swans were just nowhere near the level. If they had performed like that in the final that we played, we would have definitely beaten them. So it looks like they went out and played, their 2 grand finals in the finals rather than turning up this week. And the Cats just absolutely put them away. They were just playing with them in the end. And the Cats get probably a well-deserved flag after making 10 out of the last 11 final series since they won their last flag. They've been up there for a long time, and as much as I hate both these clubs, they're my second and third most hated teams. Maybe Sydney's my first at the moment. I guess, the Cats finished on top, and we're probably the better team throughout the whole year. It's really interesting to compare sort of Melbourne and Geelong and where we were and how we took on these seasons, because we went out and won the first 10 games, where Geelong really went, the season doesn't start till round 10, and we're resting, a lot of their players like Joel Selwood and Dangerfield, so then they would have a bit more impact later in the year. The way that they managed their players was elite. Because it had them ready to be at their absolute best on grand final day, where we peaked in round 1 and won the 10 games in a row, and that continued on from our 7 games that we won in a row from last year. But if you look at Geelong, they've won their last 16, 17 games in a row of this year, and that's when you want to go on a run, is that you want to run and finish off as well as they did. So good on them with the way that they managed their side, the way they manage players coming in and out from their VFL. These are all lessons that we can learn from. You can see that Geelong, they got Shannon Burns from us, who was a runner in the grand final last year. So there's a runner that's won 2 back-to-back grand finals with 2 different teams. He would have gone and told them a lot about what we do. And if you look at the way that they use Blitzarves and Stanley, and the way that they manage their backline and the way that they run, it's very Melbourne-like. And then they've also got that slow style with switch kicking and elite kicking that they're able to go back on and fall back on after bringing in a Melbourne style to their game. It's interesting what they put on for the year. The Geelong Football Club got the premiership and well deserved, and their antics at Mad Monday was phenomenal. Made me laugh so much with them taking the piss out of themselves for being too old, the oldest team ever to be fielded in an AFL game, let alone a grand final, and they take home the chocolates. So that's just some thoughts I had about the game, some thoughts I had about the way Geelong attacked the season comparatively to us. And I'm really excited for 2023. I think we're going to be up there again, and go for it. It's trade time. Well, it's getting close to trade time at the moment. So there's so much speculation out there in the dirt sheets. They're just absolutely working for clicks at the moment. All this stuff over DeGoey's behavioural clause issues. Do we even know if that's real? It's something that someone would assume. Would assume that's happening at a club. Because he's had a few bits of trouble, they're going to assume that there's all these clauses in there and stuff like that. It's just is any of that true? Any journalist could just put that out and people would assume that it's real based on what's happening at the moment. And so like this article here, Fremantle may have to let big man duo go if they're going to get Luke Jackson, says Colin Young. I get that he's Rory Lobb's manager, but all he's trying to do is push his clients out of Fremantle. So he's trying to suggest to the media that, they might need to consider this. So then it's putting those thoughts out into the media world so they can try and brainwash their own client's team into facilitating what he wants to happen. That's why these articles come out like this. It's because there's people that are trying to get things to happen for their clients. And it's just like, if you go through this article, it's just a whole lot of fluff. There's a whole lot of nothing. It's just not actually saying anything. It's not telling you where anyone's actually going to go. It's just, oh, this person's out of contract, this person's not out of contract, this is where this person likes to go, but then they might have to go end up in Melbourne because of Luke Jackson. It's just like, all of this is speculation, and all the stuff that I've seen on Twitter is absolutely rubbish as well. Like, oh yeah, if, you know, Fremantle are going to get pick 8 from Port Adelaide and they're going to send that to Collingwood for Brodie Grundy, and Brodie Grundy is enough. No, Brodie Grundy is not enough for us. Like, he is a pick 3 premiership player and a rising star. Like, we need pick 2 from West Coast and something else. Maybe a player. Like, it's Grundy plus something else if we're going to get that. Or even maybe the Grundy trade isn't even related at all. Like, it'll be something that we organise with Collingwood separately. Because they're not going to get a top 10 pick for Brodie Grundy. Not when they're pushing him out. Like, he wants to stay at Collingwood and Collingwood are pushing him out, apparently. Even if any of this is actually happening. Because, like, it's all just speculation. All we know is for sure is that Melbourne has talked to Brodie Grundy, because that was confirmed by Simon Goodwin. You heard it come from his mouth. That sort of stuff you can trust. There are talks there, and it seems like he wants to stay and he's just going to get pushed out. So, and we all know that Collingwood articles is what get clicks, is what get ads, and all that sort of thing. The way that these are set up, you know, this is brought to you by Continental Tires. You know, more speculation here. So, you know, they're going to include Jaden Hunt in here just because he hasn't signed another contract yet. So, like, is every uncontracted player going to get things thrown up for them? You know, like, he's played over 40 games in the last 2 years. Like, he's been in the senior side. Why would anyone be worried that he's going to leave at 27? For what? What opportunity? He's in the best 22. But there's, you know, people are going to post articles about him. And same with Tomlinson as well. Oh, he's a, you know, top player. Tomlinson's contracted for next year. Like, he's going to be at the D's. Like, I don't see him being moved at all. You know, but you know, people put it out there. Sam McClure's of the world just put this rubbish out there because they need to talk about stuff. They need to keep putting their name out in the ether. And for people like me, all they're doing is just ruining their reputation, because I just see all this trash come out here. All these articles come out speculating about people, and then other people in the media speculate about what another person in the media has said about this. So I just wait until all the trades are done. And I find that much easier to sit and not click on all these articles, because most of them are rubbish. 90% of the players that get spoken about in these sort of articles don't get moved. And yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts. Yeah, we'll talk more about trade week when it all comes together. But yeah, as for this week of the Yeahthedees, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the footy and things like that. So thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments. And this has been Yeahthedees.
Petrarca! Oh wow! How good is that? Sparrow to make it a 3-goal, 3-quarter time lead. He's got it! Surely not another one. Handball to Oliver, streaming through. Bang! Bang, bang, bang! Melbourne are the premiers for 2021!
And it's just so special for such our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.